Yes, it's time to head to the final frontier on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Now, recently, a massive discovery was made by scientists using a very special piece of technology buried deep in the ice of Antarctica. It's called the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory, and what they detected was an extremely high-energy neutrino that they have now traced back to the center of a distant galaxy. If none of this actually makes any sense of you, you're not alone, all right? I have no idea what I just said, but luckily we have astrophysicist Dr. Imogen Whittam with us here to help us out a little bit. Dr. Imogen, thank you very much. Neutrinos, also known as ghost particles, what on earth are they? Because neutrinos, it sounds cute. I don't know.
So everything we can see and touch is made up of atoms.
Yeah.
And you might know that atoms are actually made up of even smaller particles, things like electrons. And all of the particles that make up normal matter have got charge, and that means they interact with each other, so they'll bounce off each other if they collide.
Okay.
And a neutrino is a bit like an electron, except it doesn't have charge, so it doesn't interact with normal matter.
Right.
So, in fact, there are millions and billions of neutrinos streaming through me and you and everything else every second.
Okay.
But because they don't interact with normal matter, it's like they were never there.
Okay, so they don't affect us?
No.
Essentially, anyway?
No.
But yet they're there?
Yes, they are. There are literally millions and billions of them streaming through every person and everything every second.
Interesting. Okay, so we spoke about the ice cube.
Mm-hmm.
So how did it detect these neutrinos, which is buried deep in the ice of the Antarctica, or, you know?
Yeah, so because these neutrinos barely interact with anything, they're really, really hard to detect.
Difficult to find, yeah.
Yeah, but
good
so
game of hide and seek, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. But there is one way they do interact with normal matter, which is called the weak force. And it's appropriately named because it's extremely weak.
Okay.
But that means there is a really, really tiny chance that a neutrino will interact with matter, and it'll cause a tiny flash of light when that happens. But because this is so rare, you need a lot of stuff to stand a chance of seeing it. So what these ice cube guys are doing is they are looking for these tiny flashes of light in ice in Antarctica.
Right.
And ice is really good for this.
Reflects.
Yeah, so it's transparent, so you can see the flashes, and also there's a lot of it, and importantly, because you need so much of it, it's free.
Okay, so I mean, the big question is, where do they actually come from? You know, and why are they here?
Yeah, so this is the really exciting bit for astrophysicists like me. This neutrino came from a distant galaxy over 4 billion light years away.
Sure.
So all galaxies have got a supermassive black hole in their center, including our Milky Way. And in most galaxies, that black hole is just sitting there fairly passively. But in some galaxies, gas and dust is busy falling into the center of that black hole. And when that happens, a huge amount of energy is released. So you get these violent outflows of matter and radiation, like you can see in this image here.
Okay.
So you get these streams of highly energetic particles being ejected from the center of the galaxy. And they will then travel for billions and billions of years until they reach Earth. So in this case, this neutrino was ejected from this distant galaxy 4 billion years ago. So when the Earth was only just forming, it traveled all the way through space to Earth and then was detected in Antarctica a few months ago.
So basically what you're saying is we should keep an open mind
Yes.
when it comes to neutrinos,
Yes.
right? Because it's very hard to kind of understand this. I'm trying not to let everything go over my head at this stage, but what does it mean, this discovery for men, for science going forward?
So what's really exciting about this discovery is it's the first time we've detected a neutrino and light from the same galaxy.
Right.
And that gives us a huge amount of possibilities in terms of actually probing the nature of these galaxies and discovering totally new physics. So it's really exciting.
Is this still all a drive to find out and understand how the galaxy formed?
Yes, exactly. So we want to find out how galaxies like our own form and how they evolve with time. And so looking at a distant, very powerful, active galaxies is a way of doing this.
I'm in awe of your knowledge. You know, this is very, very interesting indeed. Thank you very much, Dr. Imogen Whittam, astrophysicist at UWC. I think this is something rather bizarre and something I think us normal folk won't easily take on board, okay? But if you have any kind of knowledge of neutrinos out there, I'd love to know from you as well. Connect with us on our social media pages and then what do you think about neutrinos flowing freely through us, causing no kind of effect on our bodies whatsoever?